The mawashi geri or roundhouse kick is essentially a front kick or maigeri done sideways. It is also a snap kick, so you have to imagine that you are kicking either an electric fence or a particularly hot potato, so that as soon as you straighten your leg, you yank it back immediately. This is a very easy kick to get wrong, so let's go through the stages of how to do it correctly. Like the maigeri, the first two things you do is open your foot and change your guard. The order that you do these two things in isn't critical, and as you become more advanced, they blend into one motion. Then you prepare your leg, and this needs to be done in a very specific way. To ensure that your leg goes round in an arc, you have to make sure that your preparation is as horizontal as possible. This means that you need to have your knee, your hip and your ankle all at the same height. They should all be horizontal, and this means that you should be able to balance a cup of tea on any of these 3 points. Make sure that your knee is pointing directly towards your target. If your knee is pointing beyond the center line, then your kick will also go beyond the center line, which is incorrect in basics. This is because if you kick beyond the center line, it takes longer to bring your kick back to the beginning position if you want to throw 2 kicks in a row. From there you straighten and bend your leg very quickly so that you can use it again if you need to. You land in a fighting stance now, which we've discussed earlier. This means that your weight is split 50-50 between your legs. Your feet are shoulder width apart, both your knees are bent, and your front toes are pointing forwards and your back toes are pointing 45 degrees. Now you apply the reverse punch. Make sure that your back leg straightens at the exact moment that your punch goes out. This is where all the strength comes from. In the reverse stance, your shoulders are above your hips, your front toes are curved slightly inwards and your back toes are facing forwards. You finish the maneuver off by yanking your punching arm back as you go into fighting stance, bending your back knee as you do so. Bear in mind that the top half of your body is effectively Botox during the kick. Your hands stay exactly where they are and they don't fly outwards for balance. It can be quite tempting when you're doing this kick to lean backwards, but try to avoid doing this because then your weight goes back, your momentum goes back, and your kick is a lot weaker. For this reason, try to lean forwards when you're doing your roundhouse kick for maximum speed, strength and stability. Hayley is now demonstrating what it looks like to make 5 common mistakes. Firstly and most importantly, she's not defending herself. Her guard is not in the correct place. Secondly, she's leaning back as she kicks and you can see there's not much momentum going forwards. Thirdly, she's slicing her kicks, and this means they're going up at 45 degrees, which means there's a good chance they could catch an elbow and she can break a toe. But she's got very good flexibility, so I can't knock that. A fourth common error is to not engage your hips when you apply the reverse punch after a kick. Here we can see that when Hayley applies the reverse punch, her back leg does not straighten and her hips do not get engaged into it. This means that the reach of the punch is a lot less and it's also a lot weaker. Another thing to remember when you're doing your kick is that when you land in a fighting stance to do a reverse punch, make sure that you don't land with your feet too long, too far apart, because this will force your back heel off the floor when you apply your punch. And lifting your back heel up off the floor in basics is a big no-no. This is because when you punch somebody, the force goes down your arm, down your back, down your leg and into the ground. This explains why your punch is stronger when your heel is firmly on the ground. However, if you're doing blocks and counters or kumite, it's acceptable to take your back heel off the ground sometimes if you need to make distance quickly.